Silent Bob, like that's something I look up to. I love how much of a comic book fan he is, how much of a hockey fan he is. Like everything I love is like in Kevin Smith. And so I heard that, but I was very relieved to be like, oh, he's fine for now. But that doesn't mean there's future complications.
Right.
Coming up on UCF Nightly News.
Learn how UCF is putting a plan for pedestrian safety into action.
And we have an update from the Board of Trustees meeting on Thursday. Find out the latest news about the misused funds.
And in sports, we'll take a look ahead at the football game this weekend.
Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Alex Storer.
And I'm Kennedy Holder. Today is Friday, September 28th, 2018.
Students from Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands now have an in-state tuition waiver extension. The Board of Trustees meeting was held in the Fairwinds Alumni Center on Thursday. At the meeting, the committee approved this extension until 2023. Students displaced by Hurricane Maria spoke about their experiences and brought awareness to why the extension was vital to them. The press release states that in order to keep their in-state tuition, students must be currently enrolled at UCF or any Florida college, or be a new student admitted to UCF or any Florida State College in spring 2019.
The investigation into the misuse of funds to build Trevor Coburn Hall is just beginning. Yesterday's Board of Trustees meeting, Brian Cave, the law firm conducting the investigation, gave a brief update. Right now, the firm is working to preserve relevant electronically stored information, including emails from important UCF personnel. They're also asking those involved in the investigation to preserve all paper and electronic records that might be potentially related. And now we know members of the board are in question.
All current board members who were serving on the board in 2014 when the Finance and Facilities Committee of the board recommended moving forward with the construction of Trevor Coburn Hall, which was of course subsequently approved by the full board in May of 2014, may be interviewed.
Some of those board members who are still in the committee include Trustee Chairman Marcos Marchena, Robert Garvey, Beverly C.A., Alex Martins, and John Sproles. UCF is showing support for DACA recipients. In celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, UCF is letting Latinx students share their stories. Nightly News tells us how UCF is helping its dreamers reach their goals. The Multicultural Student Center hosted a forum Wednesday on the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Act. DACA protects young undocumented immigrants from deportation. The topic continues to spark debate and protests across the nation. UCF student body president Joshua Bologna is a dreamer from Ecuador. He is keeping fellow DACA recipients at the top of his list during his presidency.
Florida Student Association, which is the 12 student body presidents of the Public University of Florida. The number one legislative priority that we decided this past month is undocumented students' financial aid.
Attendees voiced concerns on funding, jobs, and scholarships. According to UCF's Office of Student Financial Assistance, DACA students cannot receive university funds, state, or federal aid.
On our website, and we do have a page under applying for aid for the Deferred Action Childhood Arrivals students. There is a page that does give some other resources and some information.
UCF's Dreamers have been eligible for private scholarships since fall 2016. Edgar Carrasco, a UCF Dreamer, feels as though more can be done to notify DACA students of financial options.
They can create a pamphlet or a paper that can be sent to your home once you've been accepted saying, hey, these are the next steps, being a Dreamer student that you should take. Resources for DACA and undocumented students can be found at sdes.ucf.edu/community. In Orlando, Kennedy Holder, UCF Nightly News.
Hispanic Heritage Month ends on October 15th. For a full list of events, visit diversity.ucf.edu.
The University of Central Florida will build its first ever on-campus hotel, the Pegasus Hotel. The hotel will have 179 rooms and suites. It's going to be located at the intersection of University Boulevard and Alafaya Trail at the main entrance to the UCF campus. The project is a joint deal between Devon Group, Dimitri Global, and Pinnacle Hotel, which will manage the project. Officials say it will cost $48 million, and they expect it to open in spring of 2020.
This week, UCF students voted to elect a new SGA Senate. I heard the turnout was higher than last year's.
Yeah, let's check in with Nightly News reporter Nathaniel Rivas, who has more on that story. Nathaniel?
Thanks, Kennedy and Alex, and that's right. Numbers were up from last year. Over 4,000 students voted in this year's election. That's about 500 more votes than last year. Now here's a breakdown of how many senators were elected into each college. Now each senator represents about 1,000 students at UCF, and depending on how many students enroll in each college, that college gets more senators. For example, the College of Engineering has the most senators with 10. The College of Business Administration has about 8. And Josh Davis in the College of Sciences returns for his 3rd straight year in the Senate. He wants to make life easier for students living off campus. Some ways include the off-campus apartment contract dates and better UCF shuttles traveling from campus. Another re-elected senator is Rachel Friant for the College of Graduate Studies. She's working on lowering the cost of transcripts from $15 to $10. Friant says one way to help reduce the cost is having an option to request 48 hours in advance to come and pick up a physical copy of the transcript. Sarisa Teresa Tong for the College of Undergraduate Studies wants to improve how students pay for a parking pass. She proposed making a new payment plan. The 66 new student senators will take office on October 4th. You can find the full list of new senators and learn about more initiative on NSM Today's website. Now back to you, Kennedy and Alex.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Now it's time to get a look outside and see what the forecast is for this Friday.
Olivia Parsons is live in the studio with more on our current conditions.
That's right, guys, and we're wrapping up the first week of fall, but it does not feel like it in Central Florida. It is super hot. Take a look at these current conditions here. High today, 94 degrees. We got a 66% humidity. Our heat index, 104. So if you are going anywhere today, you need to bring a water bottle with you. Wear light clothing because it's miserably hot outside. What's kind of unusual as we wrap up September, highs are typically in the low, mid, upper 80s. Right now we're looking at low 90s, and we're going to see that for the next couple of days. What's not helping, we have kind of some scattered clouds right now, but they're starting to disperse. What also is not helping are slow winds. We got 10-mile-per-hour winds. They're in the southeast direction, not helping to cool you off whatsoever. Later today, we're looking at a 20% chance of showers. Up until later tonight, typically when you're getting off of work, you should have a little bit of a rain, and then it will stop, pick back up again, 7:30-ish, and then it will be partly cloudy for the rest of the evening tonight, a little bit cooler. It'll be in the mid-70s, 76, 77 for a nice Friday night evening if you're going to go out for dinner. Coming up in the next 10 minutes, I'll have more on your 5-day forecast, and I'm tracking the tropics, and I'll let you know about what might not be brewing in the Caribbean.
Thanks, Olivia. Coming up, Publix workers with beards? Find out what the new policy is changing at the grocery store.
Plus, see why students marched down Memory Mall earlier this week when we come back. new UCF student is required to take an online module about hazing, but UCF battles against hazing all year. This week, students had a chance to sign a banner and pledge an online during Hazing National Prevention Week. UCF fights against hazing with programs throughout the year and online resources. Students marched out Memory Mall to bring more awareness to stand against hazing. Dr. Jermaine Graham says Prevention Week is a good reminder for students.
You're on a campus, this is something that could happen. And we want to create a culture of bystanders who are active. And when you see something, you are able to act and you're able to respond.
Dr. Graham says UCF wants to educate students before hazing happens. Reports of hazing can be sent to anti-hazing at UCF through email or through the anti-hazing hotline.
Starting this month, data collected from a study on UCF pedestrians will finally be used to create safety improvements. The suggested improvements came from data collected from a year-long study done by Orange County in 2015. The study focused on pedestrian hotspots between and along Alafaya Trail, University Boulevard, Quadrangle Boulevard, McCulloch Road, and Challenger Parkway. Engineer Kathy Evangelo says Phase 1 improvements will take about 3.5 years to complete from design to construction.
And anytime we do a project, there's at least a year and a half for design, 6 months to bid, and a year and a half to 2 years for construction, depending on the size of the project, sometimes longer. Unfortunately, roadway projects move at a slow pace, but I guess there's a reason for that, to make sure that design is approved and that what we're putting in is an improvement that's going to make things safer.
Designs for the first phase of improvements include a 10-foot wide sidewalk along the front of UCF, enhanced crosswalks with lighting, more guideway signage, and 2 new crosswalks. Stay tuned after the break for your 5-day forecast.
Plus, see what the Take the Zero campaign is all about when we come back.
Entering the fall season, you might notice some changes taking place at your local Publix. The grocery store has made some recent appearance updates for its male staff. We're talking beards. Publix employees are now allowed to grow facial hair, permitting it as long as it meets the guidelines, including a defined cheek line and neckline, the remainder of your face is shaven, and the hair length can be no more than 2 inches. UCF student and Publix employee Justice Griffith says he loves the new policy, not having to worry about shaving right before work anymore.
Definitely a bit more freedom. Not having to shave every morning before coming to work is definitely nice. But we're a clean-cut organization, so I don't think that it will really affect how customers perceive us.
Since 2015, a petition to change the store's facial hair policy has gained more than 20,000 signatures.
As students are facing the pressure of going to school full-time, working internships, and trying to maintain a social life, it all seems to consume us. The time to study often gets overlooked, and various forms of academic misconduct may come to a student's mind. UCF Integrity and Ethical Development hosted Take the Zero yesterday in the Student Union, a workshop that focuses on letting students know it's okay to take the zero in some assignments to avoid academic misconduct, including preventative strategies, resources, ways to de-stress, and not indulge in negative self-talk. UCF Coordinator for Office of Integrity and Development, Vanity Shields, says it's important to think about your choices before you make them.
All going to fail at something. None of us are perfect, and there is no med school, no law school, no any graduate school or job that's going to require that you be 110% perfect, that you have to get an A in every single class, every single assignment. That perfect world doesn't really exist, and a lot of that pressure is stuff that we put on ourselves.
Shields will be hosting a social media addiction workshop next Tuesday in the Student Union to continue the College Life Skills Workshop Series.
Tropical storm Kirk is making its way through the Caribbean Sea.
Olivia Parsons has an update on that and what to expect for the next 5 days.
Yes, let's chat about Tropical Storm Kirk. He's not a hurricane. Don't expect that either, as he is expected to weaken later this evening. He might not even make it to tomorrow, so that's good news for people living in the Caribbean. He made his way last night, traveling real slow over St. Lucie. Again, 14-mile-per-hour winds, so he's got a big coverage, 140-mile wingspan, but he's not really doing much at all, and there's really no imminent effect to Central Florida. But if you do have family in St. Lucia, then that is a problem, but they only got intense rainfall last night. Now let's take a look at the Central Florida temperatures across the state. So as you can see, lows all over the place in the mid to low 90s, except for in Miami, which is at 88, which is kind of weird. Back up at Tallahassee, Jacksonville, low 90s, you got 91, 93, and of course, Orlando, hottest on the map, 94 degrees. So yes, again, I told you it is extremely hot outside. I can't stress the importance of staying hydrated, especially if you do work outside. Let's take a look at our lows. Again, everybody's kind of in, well, this is a little bit different. So we've got low up in Tallahassee, we've got the mid 76 in Jacksonville. Back down in Tampa, we got 78, Orlando 77, and again, Miami is the oddball one out there with a low of 80, which is kind of particular because they were the lowest of the highs for Florida. And let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. So this weekend, tailgate tomorrow, you're going to be miserable if you're going to be out there for 93, 91, and so Saturday and Sunday, 93, 91, your lows 75. So it'll be partly cooler in the afternoon. But once we hit Monday, we're going to be below the 90s for, I think, the first time in what feels like forever. Same with Tuesday as well. Might get that sweater weather. Then we're going to go back up to the 90s by Wednesday, so that, you know, it's going to get hotter as the week goes on. Thank you. Have a good one. Back to you, Kennedy and Alex.
Thanks so much, Olivia. Evan, what do we have in sports today?
Well, simply put, a lot. We're going to go and hit you with everything you need to know about tomorrow's UCF football game versus Pitt. Plus, UCF men's soccer finally returns to their home pitch. I'll catch you up on the latest from how the team's preparing for tonight's matchup against SMU. This and much more when we return from the break. Stick with us. Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for sticking with us. I'm Evan Abramson, and let's jump right in. Another week has passed, and the number 13 Knights are ready to take on the Pittsburgh Panthers, hoping for a big win to give them a boost in the rankings. The 2-1 Panthers from the ACC own a 1-0 lead over UCF in the all-time series. The only previous matchup dates back to 2006, when Pitt took down UCF 52-7. So obviously, the high-scoring Knights, led by Heisman candidate Mackenzie Milton, will be looking for just a little bit of revenge. Passing, rushing, and calling audibles, Milton does it all. 3-0 in the 2018 campaign so far, and Milton is averaging close to 350 total yards a game, with 12 total touchdowns on the season to accompany it. Not too shabby for the junior quarterback. As a team, the Knights are averaging 50 points per game, with the Panthers at less than half that, just 24.5. Here's a look at what head coach Josh Heupel had to say yesterday about preparing for tomorrow's game.
It's a big game for us because it's the next game on our schedule. We try to take them one at a time. We've handled business each week so far. None of that matters. None of last season matters. 2 weeks from now doesn't matter. It's one play at a time, one game at a time.
Now, while Heupel's philosophy is to try and stay focused on the road and rather than ahead than on the past, here's a couple things to keep in mind. UCF still holds the nation's longest winning streak at 16 games. A win tomorrow would make it both a UCF and an American Athletic Conference record. The Knights lead the entire nation with a very impressive 65.7% third down conversion rate. And on the defensive side of the ball, the Knights rank 5th this year so far in turnovers, forcing an average of 2 per game. The Knights will meet the Panthers on the gridiron at 3:30 p.m. Nathaniel Rivas and Nick Santiago will have your coverage of the game. Make sure to give them a follow on Twitter at UCF Knightly News, as they will update you throughout the day from Spectrum Stadium. Meanwhile, the men's soccer team comes home tonight to face SMU. This will be its first home game in 3 weeks. The Knights went 2-1 while on the road. Goalkeeper Yannick Ertl recorded 11 saves in 3 games. Junior Cal Jennings continued to lead the attack for the Knights. He scored 5 goals, including a hat-trick at Stetson. Head coach Scott Calabrese says having players like Jennings helps keep the team in the game.
Obviously, goals change games, and goals make a difference. They're so important. There's not a lot of goal scorers in this world. So when you have one, it gives you a chance to win any game you're in.
This will be the second conference game this season, but the first one at home. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. at the UCF Soccer Complex. While coaches always want their teams to be close, when it comes to UCF volleyball, however, they have a couple players who are closer than most. Zachary Winicky tells us how the two sisters are helping the Knights succeed on the court.
Coach Dagenet says his team is so close, they're all practically sisters. But with freshman Amber Olsen and junior Erin Olsen, that's literally the case. The sister setters from Illinois share the same last name, position, and now the court for the first time since high school. They have helped the Knights to a 10-3 start and a national top 10 ranking in assists per set. Despite the success, they did not plan on spending their college careers together.
It was never like plan, we're never like, oh, we're gonna go to different schools, oh, we're gonna play together. Like, it just kind of fell into place and it happened that way.
It was Erin who got her younger sister into volleyball and the setter position, but it was actually Amber who helped get her older sister to UCF.
We had recruited Amber as a sophomore out of high school, and Amber was the first to commit. And then Erin ended up transferring from Bradley.
When Erin decided to transfer, she called her sister to see if she was okay with her coming to Orlando. Amber was on board.
I was like, hey Amber, would you mind like if I like looked at your school or whatever, like do you care if I come? And she's like, yeah, I want you there. At least I know I can beat you out.
The sisters do a lot of things together on the court and have some similarities. But Coach Dagenet says they are very different.
They're two completely different people. Their personalities are completely different. And so really they've been able to establish their own identity and their own role and their own part within the team.
Their focus is now on getting better. The friendly rivalry the admittedly competitive siblings have developed has helped them do that.
We just challenge each other on and off the court to be better setters and to be better people, honestly. Like, there's always that healthy level of competition.
Almost more important, though, is that they get to hang out off the court.
I missed her a lot, like just not even just playing with her, just being around her, like having her like get back home in Chicago was so far away.
While they have enjoyed getting to play with each other again, their main focus is on the team's goal.
The desk.
Thanks, Evan. That's all our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on our Twitter at UCF Knightly News.
And if you've got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews@gmail.com.
Thanks for watching, and have a great day.